Hello grade 6. Today we're going to complete our lesson that we started last time. Last time we talked about how the sun was born. Okay, so what about the planets? How were they born? When the sun was formed, there were other small rocks and objects that were found rotating around the sun. Those objects, they started to accumulate together, and by the heat of the sun, it started to form the planets. Okay, so the gravity of the sun made these planets to stay in their specific orbits, and the larger objects started to rotate and orbit around the sun. So the sun's gravity held all the extra matter in their orbits. Some larger objects formed around the sun, and each one had its own orbit around the sun. These objects swept up smaller objects and became even bigger, so they started to get bigger in size, and over millions of years they continued to grow, and this process was called accretion. So around the sun we had smaller objects, and they started to grow as they accumulated on each other in a process called accretion, and this gave us at the end the 8 planets. Not all of these objects started to form the planets. Some of them, they formed the asteroid belts. So not all of the rock and dust swept up into planets, and they gave us some asteroids. What's the meaning of asteroid belt? As we took the last lesson, the asteroid belt is a group of asteroids that are found between planet Mars and planet Jupiter. Okay, so we have here another info is that as we said, we have 2 types of planets, the giant planets and the rocky planets. What made the rocky planets closer to the sun and the giant planets, they are away from the sun? The solar winds, they pushed the planets into different distance according to their mass. So we can conclude that the rocky planets will be found closer to the sun. However, the giant planets, because they are made up of gas and ice, so they are lighter than the rocky planets, so they are pushed away from the sun. They are found further from the sun. Okay, so the rocky planets are found closer to the sun, and the giant planets are found further from the sun. Earth and the Moon. What makes Earth the most suitable planet for us to live in? First of all, Earth is found in the right place. It's not too close to the sun, so we get burned, and it's not too far from the sun, so we got frozen. And this is the most important point in planet Earth, that it's found in the right place. First of all, we want to say that early Earth, years and years ago, it was not a peaceful place for us to live in. It was usually hit by comets and rocks that hit down the Earth. Those crashing comets, they brought gas and water to Earth's atmosphere, and this what made Earth later on suitable for us to live in. Not only comets hit the Earth, but also meteorites of iron and nickel sank through a molten rock, and this what formed the hot metal core of Earth. As we know that planet Earth, in its very inner core, we can find that it's very, very hot, although the surface it's cool. Okay? So this is caused by the meteorites that fell on the Earth, and it's made up of iron and nickel. How was the moon formed? And now let's talk about the moon formation. For a short time, Earth was alone in its orbit. We didn't have a moon years and years ago, but scientists believe that objects collided together with Earth, and it released rocks, and gravity kept these rocks close to each other, and this what formed the moon at the end. So now let's talk about the gravity and the orbits that make all the planets rotate around the sun in fixed And now let's talk about the gravity and the orbits found in the solar system. Who's responsible for the gravity and the orbits in the solar system? As we said before, it's the sun. Why is it the sun? Because it's the most massive object in the solar system. It has the strongest pull of gravity. It's the star that causes all the planets to rotate in their orbits, in their fixed orbits, without going away from their route or track. Newton explained this as when Newton was sitting under a tree, he saw an apple falling from a tree, and this what made him think, why did the apple fall downward and not upward? Then he concluded that there is a law, it's the law of gravitation, that all the objects have a force of gravity. He also proposed that all objects move in a straight line if not affected by another force. So this is the Newton's law about gravity. Earth motion would move through the space in a straight path if not for the sun's gravity. So the sun's gravity is what makes the Earth to rotate in its own orbit and not to move in a straight line. So the sun's pull is what makes Earth to rotate in its elliptic orbit and not to move in a straight line. An ellipse is an oval shape. Bodies that orbit the sun, they all have elliptical orbits. So what makes the planet to rotate in their elliptical orbits and not to move in a straight line in the solar system? It is the gravity of the sun, because the sun is found in the center, and it what makes all the orbits to rotate around it in their elliptical orbits. So here we are done with our second part of our second lesson this semester. Hope you enjoyed it, and thank you so much.